Hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Halima Latif, the Candidate Network Manager at Inclusive Recruiting. Welcome once again to this webinar. If you were with us in our last session, you would know that Louise Newton was with us last time, and she talked all about how to create your LinkedIn profile. And we're really thankful that she's back again with us today to talk all about how to gain opportunities by optimizing your LinkedIn profile. So yeah, we'll just start with some short introductions and then we'll begin the session. So let's start off with Inclusive Recruiting. We are a full service equity, diversity, inclusion and belonging consultancy services. We provide recruitment and executive search, inclusive training and workshops, and EDI and B consultancy services. We also have our own jobs board called Inclusive Hires. And our work is not only designed to support companies, but also to support individuals to drive and lead change when it comes to equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. And as part of supporting individuals, we're really passionate about helping underrepresented, diverse talent to progress in the workplace. Hence, we have the Candidate Network, where we provide free resources such as events like this, job search support, mentoring, and much more. So if you're interested to learn more about our network or would like to register, please do get in touch with me. And moving on, I'd like to introduce you to Louise Newton. She is a career coach and a professional branding expert. And as mentioned before, she'll be presenting this session. So yeah, I'll hand over to Louise.
That's great. Thank you, Halima. Welcome, everybody. What a great group. It's great to see so many names popping up. So I'm going to talk about the second part of LinkedIn, if you like. As Halima mentioned, we were live in November talking about how to create your profile, going through each step to really maximize your presence on LinkedIn. So what we're going to do today is focus more on how LinkedIn works and really understand the way it works for you as a candidate. So this is going to be more around finding opportunities and looking at roles. And LinkedIn is a really powerful tool for job seekers if it's used correctly and if it's used proactively. That's going to be my big message today. You can keep a note of how many times I say proactive and interactive on this webinar. It's going to be quite a lot, I can tell you. Okay, so let's think about why LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is used by pretty much every recruiter and hiring manager. So it makes sense that if you're looking for a job, if you're looking to be seen, thinking about what opportunities are coming up, it makes sense that you're going to be there too if you want a new job. Now, I talk about LinkedIn and branding every day, every working week, and much more. So I know what I want to say about LinkedIn today, but what I'd really like to understand, particularly for the questions at the end, is what you'd like to get most from today's webinar. So if I could invite you to drop those into the chat, and then what we'll do at the end, Halima and I look through them. Hopefully the content I deliver, the information that I share today will answer your questions. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But if not, we can come back to those questions at the end. So, it's great to understand what your needs are, what your expectations are. So if you want to go ahead and drop those in the chat, or at any time during the presentation, drop some questions or comments in the chat. As I say, we will leave time at the end for those. Okay. So this is what we're going to be looking at over the next, I'm going to be chatting to you for about 35 minutes. As I say, lots of time for questions at the end. So we're going to look at why LinkedIn is so useful. We know it's there. We know you can look for jobs, but what more does it do? And how can you really build your presence and optimize your profile to be found? This is about you being found by recruiters and hiring managers, as well as you going out and looking for jobs. And also, LinkedIn is huge. There's so much information on there. How do you really get in and identify the opportunities that are right for you? That's the other really important piece, is how do you make LinkedIn work for you? So the focus really is, you've got your profile job ready. We did that through the webinar in November. And what we do today is get familiar with and use LinkedIn's tools and functionality. And it's all about building a job search strategy, not just job searching. Again, proactive strategy, increasing and maximizing your network. I will come to why that's so important, and also being able to identify both advertised and hidden opportunities. There are two lots of opportunities out there, ones that are posted on the job boards and all the rest that are hidden within LinkedIn that hopefully I will help you uncover today. So we're going to be looking at setting up a strategic job search, not just logging in and clicking around. We're going to look at mapping your connections and identifying new target connections. We're going to think about really connecting directly with recruiters. We're going to be thinking about how you're going to plan your approach and structure your approaches to make those connections, both with recruiters and in-company contacts. We're going to talk about hashtags, groups, and being proactive, interactive with LinkedIn in order to push you up the search ratings. We focus quite a bit on that. And then, of course, we'll touch on things like keyword searches and why that's still so important. But firstly, let's just remind ourselves of why LinkedIn is such a powerful tool for job searches. Okay, statistics time. So there are 830 million users on LinkedIn, and 33 million of those are in the UK. So depending where you're joining us from today, 33 million users across the UK. And LinkedIn is the leading professional platform for job seekers. The only one that's got slightly higher use, that's sort of operating at the same level, is Indeed. That's the only other one. But LinkedIn is more about creating your profile, creating your presence, building that presence, and networking. Okay, it's not just a job board like Indeed. And the point is, recruiters love LinkedIn. It is a one-stop shop for them. So recruiters are on there all the time. And depending on which survey you look at, anywhere between sort of 87 and 95% of recruiters are on there using LinkedIn to source candidates directly. And there are over 500,000 HR and recruiting professionals on LinkedIn as well. So you can see it's the place to be. It gives you a huge advantage being on there, being able to connect with people and be seen, okay, and find those opportunities. I think the other thing that's really interesting is this statistic that I added in here yesterday. New data has come out that the increase in hires via LinkedIn in 2022 was 88%. The other thing that's really interesting is when you look at the number of recruiters on there, only 36% of job seekers are on LinkedIn. So you've got 95% of recruiters, 36% of candidates. So it's a huge opportunity for you to be seen by the people who are looking for talent. So we know that you can create an attention-grabbing profile. We've talked about that. This is about you creating that showcase to promote your talents, abilities, and interests. We know that you can go on there and look for jobs. You can search for roles and apply directly. But what a lot of people are not aware that you can do or don't do is these other pieces. Building that network, connecting, being proactive, being interactive. There I go with my buzzwords for today. Also following topics, working out what's going on and seeing those opportunities. And the most important thing is about being found, positioning your profile to be found. So it's not just looking at the job listings, interaction is the key. Why? Why is interaction the key to success? So your profile is obviously your starting point, and that's the powerful showcase for you to build a profile, every section complete, peppered with keywords that are relevant to the roles you're looking for and the market and sectors, industries, companies that you're looking to target. And keywords are the search tools for recruiters. Okay, so that's why they're most important. It's the most common way that they search. So having your profile up to date, making sure you've got all, keyword rich content, you've maximized the space in the about section, you've got a really detailed, overview of what you've got in your professional experience, you've got 50 skills, you're using every possible space to maximize keywords. That's the main recruiter search. And the way to be interactive is to keep that up to date. If it's been 6 months since you reviewed your LinkedIn profile, how do you know it's market fresh? You need to be looking at job descriptions, interacting again with LinkedIn, updating keywords to keep it current and fresh. The other way that recruiters are looking for candidates is to look through the skills section. You can have up to 50. Again, make sure it's full and current. And also they're looking at accomplishments. So think, laterally about what you've got and make your profile as complete as possible. But the other ways that recruiters are searching, they look for previous employees, they see where they've gone and they see who they are connected to. Because people doing similar roles are often connected, or they've come from the same sort of educational background, or they've come through the same career pathway. So looking at previous employees is one. They also join groups. Okay, so this is great for recruiters because this is a way to find candidates without having to pay for advertising, and it's really fast. The network runs really quickly across groups. So they join them, they post, I'll show you some examples, and that's how they're finding candidates. So you being interactive, joining groups, taking part in discussions is a great way to be seen and be found. And then the other thing that recruiters do is that they check contacts and contacts of contacts. They really look across the network. So the more active you are in your network, again, the higher you're going to come up with those search results as someone who's using LinkedIn seriously, is committed to keeping their profile fresh and maximizing their connections. So message, increase your chances by keeping your profile up to date. Ensure you think strategically about including keywords, from job ads. Make sure that you're refreshing your skills in keywords, that they reflect who you are now and how that is good for the market, for the roles that you're looking for. Okay, so buzzwords, proactive, interactive. Okay, it's not just a static showcase for you to post your profile and then just sit back and wait to be found. You've got to work for it to get up those search results. So let's think about strategy. Before we jump into actually doing, let's think about what we're going to do there. One of the things that I found with my clients is they do not think clearly enough about a job search strategy. They just go on and start looking for jobs. They get overwhelmed, there's too many, takes too long to filter them all, can't see what I'm looking for, get dejected, or just set up some notifications and just literally passively respond to those email notifications. So what I do with my clients, we take a step back, okay? What are you looking for? What are you trying to achieve? And the more specific you are in your job search strategy, the more specific your goal, the more likely it is that you will achieve it. It's the same in job search as it is in any other area of our lives. The more specific we are about the goal, the easier it is to see it, work towards it, and achieve it. So definition is the key to success. So if you think about it this way, you're hungry, it's lunchtime, you're on your break, you want to use your time and resources effectively. If you go to the supermarket with intentions, think about what you want to get there, you can focus on the right aisle, get what you need, get out with time to spare. If you're just wandering around the supermarket, hungry, you could be wandering for quite a long time. So specific targeted search, aimless wandering. Think about which is going to get you the result. And with job searching, there are so many jobs on there. There's so much information to work through. The more specific you are, the more efficient you will be, and the more productive you will be. Okay. So very basic question. What are you looking for? Okay. What are you really looking for? This is a question that I work with on clients, and it can take quite a long time to answer. We work through all the options, okay? And the tool that I use with clients to articulate this is a scale. Ideal, these are things that are going to make me say yes, no go, not happening for me, okay? And there are some things within there that are acceptable. Yeah, I can live with those. There are some things that I'm going to need to negotiate to get them across the line. So think about what you're looking for in your job search and work out your scale. Create your own brief. This is in scope. This is out of scope. Okay. And some of the things that you're thinking about are going to be these kinds of questions. What role are you looking for? What are the deliverables of that role? What is it called? Is it called different things in different organizations? Do I need 4 or 5 searches? Do I need 10 searches? Will 2 be enough? So think about how it's represented in different companies, sorry, not countries, companies. Do your research. So think about the success factors. What do you want as your deliverables? What will success look like for you in a role? Think about the company, all those different aspects. Go specific. Think about the journey. Okay, location is one thing, but how are you going to get there? And is that good for you if you're working on site? Think about salary and benefits. Okay, think culturally, think mission and values. But what you want to do is put together a strategic plan of what it is you're looking for before you hit search. Okay, so once you've scoped your job and your ideal, you're ready to get onto LinkedIn and start looking around and put some of these strategies into place. And what I'm going to do, I am going to stop sharing there. And hopefully, by the power of technology, I am going to start sharing my LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to make this interactive. Hopefully you can see my profile. Okay. Now bear with me, because normally we do all this static on slides. So we're going interactive today. So bear with me as I work through this. So the first thing is we've got your profile here, and what we want to do is show that you are open to opportunities. Okay, so you want to show that you are in active search. Open to here gives you those options. So we are going to be open to finding a new job. So what we want to do is add in some of the things that we might be looking for. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for career coach. Okay, what else is that called? Let me think about it. I might want to add some different titles in. So we can put a number of titles in, and it might be that you're looking at 3 or 4 different pathways and possibilities. So again, you can add all of those titles in here. We're going to think about where we want to work. Actually, I don't want to be on site. I want to be remote. Okay, so where is that going to be? Well, I can work across the whole of the region if I'm going to be working remote. So I'm going to add that in. Now I'm casually browsing. I'm not fully in my search, so click that, and I'm only looking for part-time, okay? And I would consider temporary. So set up your job preferences here in this section, and then decide who you want to alert. You can add the open to work banner, this green banner that goes on your profile picture, if you want everybody in your network on LinkedIn to see that you are looking for a job. If you need to be a little bit more discreet, then we would click recruiters only. And only those people using LinkedIn Recruiter would be able to see that on your profile, okay? Now, if you're at all concerned, I would advise you read the privacy policy, because although LinkedIn says it takes steps to not show recruiters at your current company, they can't guarantee that. So read the privacy, see what you're happy with, and then when you're ready, you can add to profile. Okay, so we're done. And you will see this, but only recruiters who use the recruiter version, the paid recruiter version of LinkedIn, will be able to see that. Okay, so we're now showing that we are open to work on our profile. Now, what you can do is also set your notifications around that. You'll get an email from LinkedIn, it'll give you a notification. If you don't want to be bombarded, just again, set your settings so you are in control. You are the one being proactive. It's not just about being reactive to LinkedIn. Okay, so the obvious one is the jobs tool. Let's take a look at that. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. So if I am going to put in a title, let's say business analyst in the UK. Okay, so business analyst in the UK, I've got 35,000 results. Okay, that's too many. So how do I filter? Now you can use the filters across the top, but it's actually easier just to click all filters. Okay, so we can then think, right, you know, associate level is what I'm looking at, but I might just include entry level to see what's being offered. I'm not going to pick a company unless there are companies that I'm targeting. I'm going to think about my job type. I would take contract, okay. I'm also going to think I'm happy to be on-site, hybrid or remote. And then I'm going to think about my location. Okay, so if I'm based in Manchester, okay, got my location. And you can see we've gone from 35, nearly 36,000 results down to 138. Okay, industry, unless you've got a particular preference, I would leave blank to see what's out there. The same with job function. Okay, but what you might want to do is just narrow down on what you're really interested in. So we might be business strategy, business analyst. Okay, so you can see this is how we're filtering. This is how we're making an efficient use of time. One thing I do not recommend is using the salaries, because most jobs now on LinkedIn are posted without salary. And as soon as you click salary, the results disappear. And the only way to get out of this is to reset, and you have to do it all again. Okay, so ignore the salaries. Most roles don't have them now, and that's why they'll get eliminated from your search. But think about all of these different filters. Again, be strategic. Look at the scale that you created, your scope, what's in scope, what's out of scope. What do you want to leave open versus what are you actually looking for? This is going to make you much more strategic. When you are ready, when you've set your levels, when you've decided what you're looking for, what you can do, I'll show you, click Manchester, I'll give it some, is to then show the results. Okay, so we're just looking for business strategy and business analyst. So let's have a look at those 5 results. Okay, so what we can do then is we can set an alert. Okay, you can manage your alerts, you'll get emails, you can manage how you interact. But with this alert on, anytime a role that comes up that fits all of this criteria, you will be notified. Okay, so you can set up to 20 different alerts. So it might be that you want to do some in different locations, you want to do different levels, you want to explore different companies rather than having everything. So think, again, it's about being strategic and proactive in how you shape your search. Okay, just manage your alerts as you go. So that's the jobs function. That's a really obvious way to look for jobs, but there are other ways which we can do this. Okay, so let's start looking behind the scenes at the more hidden market. Search box here from the home page. Let's put in the business analyst. Okay, we're going to hit return, and we can see there are lots of different things that we can look at. So one of the things that I advise my clients do first is to look at posts, okay, to see what's happening. And the reason that's important is that you'll see recruiters are posting jobs in their own profiles. It's free and it's fast for them. So when we look at posts, we're seeing jobs here that may not be posted in the formal jobs board because either they don't have LinkedIn Recruiter that they pay for, or they just want to get a message out as soon as possible. So this is an ideal way for looking at jobs that are current, only posted a couple of days ago, 17 hours ago. These are going to be people within your network and your network's network that are talking about business analyst. Okay, so always check posts first. This is a really good resource. You can also check who's talking about business analyst and seeing what's going on. I don't find this is as useful because something like this is quite a broad job term. So there's a lot to wade through. But what you might want to do is think about next about groups. Okay, so let's talk about groups. The other thing to think about is who else is searching and how they're being found. You can join up to 100 groups. I think that's a bit excessive, and I'm not sure how anyone would manage 100 groups. So think about maybe 10. Go through them, look at the members, look at the profile, what's the group there for, think about how it might be useful to you and join, okay? You're not going to be able to manage more than sort of 5 to 10 groups, okay? If you want to be active and networking within them. So think carefully about using groups, but they're a very powerful tool because that's where recruiters are going to be finding candidates. Okay. The other thing to think about is when people are talking about business analysts is anybody posting that they are looking for a job, which does happen. So what you might see, for example, is a post like this. Someone has posted that they're coming to the end of the contract, they're looking for a role, and you'll see in the comments, we've got an endorsement, we've got somebody who is interested and has said, message me. Okay, so this is another way of job seeking through posts and using particular terms, search terms, is to actually post that you're looking and generate interest that way. Okay. So the other reasons to join groups are extra visibility and making new connections. So you can also message people directly in a group, even if you're not connected, and you don't have to have premium LinkedIn in order to be able to do that. So it is an excellent place to grow your network. But then the question I often get asked is, why are we so focused on growing networks? Why is it so important? Well, you go on LinkedIn, you build this network, but how are you using it? One of the things that's really important to think about is how people find jobs at different stages in their careers. At senior, sort of mid to senior level, 80% of people are more likely to find a job through someone who knows them than making a cold application. 80%. Personally, I can tell you that I'm a lot older than probably most of you, but in the last 10 years, all the work that's come my way has come through my network. I wasn't very good at networking in my early career. It wasn't something I felt comfortable doing. But the more I did it, the easier it got. The more I made genuine connections and built relationships with people with shared interests who worked at the same company, the bigger my network got. So think about building your network for now and for the future. It's about finding those hidden opportunities now, but also it's going to stand you in a very good stead. But how do we make those connections work for us? Well, if we're looking at business analyst roles, we're going to click on people and we're going to see who in our network is connected to the phrase business analyst. So you will see your primary network first. These are your first connections. But then what you'll also see are your secondary connections. So these are your connections. So what we can also see is we've got some people here. These are our mutual connections. So it might be that someone's working in a particular location and I have a mutual connection. Okay, so I can contact my mutual connection and say, hi, would you feel comfortable making an introduction? What do you know about Peterson? Would he be a useful connection for me? Because I see that he's been at the Priory Group and I'd really like to talk to him about what they're like to work for. Okay, so think about using your connections that way. Okay, so you've got people that you know and who they know. And if you don't have a mutual connection, so say there's someone, you look at someone's profile, think, oh, they're really interesting. I wonder how they developed their career. I wonder what they think of this company. You can ask to connect. But always with LinkedIn, be personal. Send a personal message. Why are you contacting them? Don't just go around connecting with everybody. Give them a reason to engage with you and start that conversation. So I'm looking at business analyst roles, I'm looking in same department or similar department, looking at public sector. It would be amazing if you had 5-10 minutes or a few notes to share about your experience. Okay, so think about why you're connecting, be authentic, give them a reason to connect with you and build your network. The other thing to think about is why it's useful to have a big network is that when you reach 100 connections, your interaction with LinkedIn changes. And it changes again when you reach 500 connections or more. Okay, so the more you are interacting, the bigger your network, the higher up the search results you go. So it's another reason to keep focused on building your connections. So it's direct searching, but also building those connections and finding out about those hidden opportunities. Another way to think about it is to look at companies that you're interested in. So we've got our search and we think about companies, because then we can do the same thing. We can think about, well, who do I know? Okay, I'm interested in, let's put EMEA. Okay, we might want to take it down further. Okay, so thinking about the companies, is there anything useful here? Often I don't find it that useful because it's too broad. Okay, so what you might do instead, I'm just going to clear this search by going back to the home page, is to think about companies that you are interested in working with. So if, for example, we were interested in Salesforce, we can go on here, we can follow Salesforce as a company. So we'll get notifications in our news feed, things that are happening with them. We can also see people who are there. Okay, but this is going to give us all the people who work there. Okay, but what's useful is it's pulled up a connection for me. I know somebody who works there. Oh, and I know more people who work there. So immediately your connections are here. 6 people in my network are connected with Salesforce, but then it also gives me 351,000 people that are also connected. Okay, that's too many. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put in a search term here that just brings me UK recruiters at Salesforce. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect with the ones that appear to be at the level that I'm interacting with. Okay. So think about the company, think about who you know there and targeting, and then you can build your search. Again, be strategic. We can look at different people, we can connect with them. We can look who's talking about Salesforce and why, and we can also see posts, okay? And they've also got their jobs listed here. So looking at target companies can be a really useful way to go. Salesforce even have their own group that you may want to join. The other thing to think about is as you collect your network is to manage it. Again, let's be strategic. So let me go home and show you something that's not widely known, but is really useful. Within LinkedIn, you can control your settings and privacy. I'm sure you're aware of that. But what a lot of people don't know is that you can actually request a copy of your data. So if we come down here to data privacy, get a copy of your data, and click on connections, you can request your archive. In about 10 minutes time, you'll get an email, and what you'll get is a downloadable file with all of your connections in it. And this is data mining gold. Okay, so you get your file, you download it, you can then start to search and see where people work. You can categorize, you don't have to be an Excel or Sheets genius to be able to do this, but you can work out where people are working, what they're doing, who, how you became connected with them. And the best way to utilize this data for your search is to start to categorize people and contact them. So you're going to go through your contacts, go through your spreadsheet and say, right, these people are group A. These people I know, first name basis, I can pop them a note. I'm going to create a template to make this fast and efficient. And I'm going to say, hi, I'm interested in business analyst roles. This is what I'm looking for. Use your scale that you created. These are your sort of top 5 criteria and send it off. Create that standard template that you just change someone's name in. You can get that out to 10 people each morning while you're having a cup of tea. Okay, track who you've sent it to. Let them know, you're heading into the market. If they hear of opportunities or they know anybody that it would be useful to speak to, would they please pass on your details or give you the name to connect with? So be proactive. You've collected all these people. Let's think about what they're there to do for you. Okay. So when you look at your profile, you'll see your number of connections. Okay. So I've got over 500. So I can really make them work for me in terms of categorizing them. Group A, people I'm going to reach out to immediately. Group B might be a bit more formal. I'm going to have to think of a slightly different approach there. But again, I can create standard communication templates and use those to send out messages to get back connections, information, or show my interest in a company. So the other thing you may have just seen on my profile, down the left here, we've got groups. These are the ones that I'm a member of. And also we've got hashtags. Okay, so hashtags are what people are using when they're tagging a topic, like every other social media. So what we could do is we could search on hashtag business analyst. And then what we can do is we can decide to follow that hashtag. Okay, so think about all the terms, all the search terms that are going to be connected to the role as a business analyst. Look for them as hashtags and follow them, okay? You can follow as many as you like. Again, be realistic, 20 hashtags is probably going to be more than enough. But what you'll do then, if you're searching, you can see who's talking about this particular hashtag, and it may be useful for you in terms of them finding groups or further hidden opportunities. Okay, I think that's everything. I'm just going to make my notes there. So the final thing is that interaction. Tick in the box for using that word yet again today. So not everybody is going to feel comfortable writing posts and content on LinkedIn. We absolutely understand that. And also you've got to think that people are going to look at your profile and judge everything that's on there. So you want to make sure at all times, any content you share or post or like is matching your professional brand. Okay. So what you might want to do is start small. You might want to interact, show that you're being proactive with LinkedIn by commenting. Okay, so if I look at Halima's profile, somebody I know shares my values, okay, someone that I'm interested in. And what I might do is look at what Halima's been up to. So I can look at her activity, okay, so I can see her activity. And what I can do is I can select her posts, okay? And then what I can do, there's me, but what I can do is if she's posted something interesting, and I can say, okay, this is what she's posted. Let me just find something that I'm interested in, and I'm going to comment on it, or I'm going to like it. So I can click like, I can give a reaction, or I can leave a comment. And that comment might just be something really simple like, this is really great to see. Or it might be, looking forward to hearing more about this. Yes, we really need to be advancing this cause. You're just leaving a comment. So you're liking or celebrating, you're leaving a comment. If you feel that you want to, you can repost it. Okay. And reposting works. It's going to add it to your own feed. And this is a great way of building up your interaction with LinkedIn, is to repost content. And rather than just sharing, it'll give you the option to share with thoughts. So you can just share, put it on your own feed, or what you can do is share it with your thoughts. And again, you can add a couple of hashtags in here that you're interested in, that when people are searching on those hashtags, you're going to start coming up in their searches. Okay, so again, it's a useful way of building your brand, building your visibility, and to start showing that you're engaging with this area. Maybe with your comments, you're going to be positioning yourself as a bit of a thought leader. The other way to do this is to, I'm just going to discard before I mess up Halima's feed online. Another way to think about doing this is to share articles. So it might be, again, you don't want to write your own content. I do, because as a coach, I put my own content out there. But if you're not comfortable with doing that, find an article in the news or through industry materials and share it on LinkedIn. Again, the more you interact, the higher up the search results you go. So be active, be engaged, be interesting. Okay, I am just going to stop sharing there, and I'm going to hop back to sharing my slides just as we close, and then we will open for your questions. Okay, my slides have disappeared. Give me 1 second. I can hear the ding of messages, so I'm gonna have lots of great questions to answer. Okay, so let me just go through then. So in conclusion, be seen, be found, optimize your profile. Okay, and then open up your profile settings. It's really about that engagement with LinkedIn. As I say, the more you engage with it, the higher up the search results you go. And I can tell you this is true because I've tested it. I didn't believe it. So some colleagues and I decided to test it and test the analytics. And it is true. The more you engage, the bigger your network, the higher you go up the search results. So think strategically about your search, think strategically about who you're connecting with and why, what you can do for them, what they can do for you. Think about those groups, following topics through hashtags and keeping your profile up to date.